This video is part 11 in a series that provides an overview of the National Folklore Archive Initiative, or NFAI, and an introduction to the function and content of its Folklore Collections Database, the FCD. Video 11, Creating Object Records, Box and Folder. In the previous video, we discussed how to create object records for collections, series, and subseries. In this video, we'll go over creating box and folder records. At this point, you will have created a record for your repository and created records for all the entities, individuals, organizations, and meetings associated with the collection, and you will have created at least your collection level record. If your collection description includes series or series and subseries, you should have created those records as well. To recap, object is the term used in FCD for the type of database record used to describe archival content. The 6 types of objects, collections, series, subseries, box, folder, and item, represent different levels and aspects of archival description. In this video, we will focus on creating box and folder records. Box and folder records are used to describe the general content of the 2 most common kinds of archival enclosures for paper and photographic materials. Since folders physically reside in boxes, boxes normally exist above folders in the collection description hierarchy. Every collection that is made up of physical materials will necessarily be stored in some kind of enclosure, like boxes and folders. But not every repository will want to map their descriptions of a collection's physical arrangement to FCD. Box and folder records are optional. Should you want to create them, feel free, but you are not required to do so. Let's take a quick look how boxes and folders display in a collection record on the user side of the FCD. Here in the top part of the record you can see the standard collection fields. Below the collection record proper is a list of all the related objects. Looking at the object type field on the right, you can see both boxes and folders. Looking at the title field on the left, you can see the box titles, and then under them, and slightly indented, the folder titles. This just provides a visual reference for the way boxes and folders relate to each other. Folders are parts of boxes. Next, we're going to go through the steps of creating new box and folder records using the FCD cataloging interface. We're going to begin by creating an object record for a box. First, log into the cataloging interface using your username and password. Looking under the New menu, the only type of object you can create from this screen is a collection. All other objects can only be created from inside a collection record. To get to the collection we want to use, we first have to find it. From the cataloging interface homepage, you can do this 2 ways. Click on Find, Object, or go right to the quick search box. We'll do it that way. Our sample collection is the Albert Wilmarth collection, so I'm going to type in Albert Wilmarth into the search box and hit Enter. Now that we have the collection record open, we can get started on creating the sample box record. There's more than one way to do it, but I'm going to demonstrate the most straightforward way, using the Editing Collection box in the upper left of the screen. To add a box under the collection, click Add a Box, and then click Plus. Now we're in the box Basic Info datasheet. You can see this screen looks a lot like a series screen. First thing to note is the Location and Hierarchy field at the top of the screen. Albert Wilmarth Vermont Field Collection and New Box. Local identifier, if there is one, add it here. Add a repository here if you like. The data associated with collection level records is also associated with the box level records, but if you want to add an additional reference to the repository, you can do so here. Title, we'll keep it simple. Box 1. Manuscripts. Date, if there's a specific date range associated with the contents of this box, plug it in here. Otherwise, leave it blank. Summary. In this case, I'm going to enter box 1 of 2 in the Albert Wilmarth Vermont Field Collection, including journals, field notes, and sketches. Creator and contributor. Since this record is associated with the collection record, you don't need to add it here. However, boxes and folders, like series and subseries, are independently discoverable in the FCD, so it doesn't hurt to put it in if you're inclined to. Here I'll add Wilmarth, Albert as the creator. Next, we move on to the materials designation, the kinds of items that are kept in the box. Since we said there are 3 kinds of items in this collection, we're going to create material designation records for each. On the left is the general materials designation, the broad conceptual category to which the materials in the box belong. On the right is the specific material designation, the specific nature of those things. The general designation would include things like sound recording, and the specific designation would be cassette. So highlight the GMD term on the left and click the little arrow to select the appropriate SMD term on the right. We'll start with text and then select field notes. Next, we'll do text and the more generic manuscripts to represent all the written materials in the series that are not field notes. Finally, we'll identify the sketches, and for this we use the graphic GMD. Since there are no specific terms related to drawings, in this case we just won't select a specific term. Next field is extent. It's a box, so we're going to say 1 box. Language, English. Access. This field refers to the ability of users on the front end to access this record. We're going to leave it to set to accessible to the public. Finally, status. Just leave this be, okay? Save it. You'll need to save each time you move from one data form to another. So that's the basics of creating a box-level record in FCD. If you want to enter data into the other data screens, subject, notes, etc., you can, but you are not required to. The details on using those fields are covered in Video 9, Creating Collection Records. Now we'll create a folder record that will nest under the box record. In order to create a folder record that relates to a specific box, we need to click on the appropriate box record in the hierarchy view. Once we've selected the proper box record, go to the Editing box at the upper left of the screen, then click Add a Folder and hit the plus sign. Then just enter all the info you want to note about the contents of that folder. For the sake of time, we're going to stick to just some basic information here. The required fields are title and material designation. So we'll enter a title, field notes, and then include some other fields along the way. Date, we'll give it a summary. As noted previously, we don't need to select the creator, but boxes and folders are independently discoverable in the database, so it never hurts. In the Materials Designation field, we'll select Text, hit the little arrow, and select Field Notes, because this folder contains field notes. Extent, 1, folder. Oh, or we can think about it this way. How many pages are in the folder? Let's go that way. English for the language, access, status, and hit save. If I were going to enter more folders in the same box, I'd repeat this process. Going back to the hierarchy browser, box 1 manuscripts, show hierarchy, the collection, the box, the folder. Let's go take a look at it on the front end. Okay, so we get to the front end of the Folklore Collections database. We'll search for it by typing in Albert Wilmarth into the search box. And there we have the Dr. Albert Wilmarth Field Collection. we have the box 1 and folder 1. So let's check that out. Scrolling through the record, there's the basic collection data and then the objects below it. You can see there's the box. And then objects in this box, folder 1. In the next video, we're going to look at creating records for items in the FCD.